Hi guys, Ancient Warrior here. Let's talk about basic needs. Now, I was at a preparedness expo this week and overheard people talking. This one young couple, and the guy was very polite and stuff, but he was telling me and others that he's got a 3-day supply of food in the house, and by 3 days, FEMA should be on the way. And I kind of rebuffed him a little bit about it. I pointed out to him that in some cases, it took FEMA over a week to get in there. And I reminded him, I had some friends that lived at Joplin, Missouri when the tornado hit there and wiped the city out. That it took them 8 days to get FEMA in there. Now the Red Cross was in there in 3. Churches were in there in 2 to 3 days. But FEMA itself took over 7 days. Why is that? Well, a lot of it is because they don't have pre-positioned equipment. They have to bring it from quite a ways away. Because you never know where these storms are going to hit. Excuse me, it's time for a little joy juice. So let's talk. Basic needs. There are 5 of them. You've got food, water, shelter, security, first aid. On your food needs, you need at least a 6-month supply per person. If you think you can get by on what you've got, double it. You'll be shocked at how during a stressful situation people eat, and eat more than they normally would. Get stuff that your families eat naturally. You know, if your family is used to eating Chef Boyardee, spaghettis and lasagna, and that kind of pastas and raviolis, then stock up heavy on that. Those are called comfort foods. Now, also stock up on canned beans, canned corn, carrots, peas, because believe it or not, you can pour all those things in one pot. Pour a bunch of onion powder, garlic powder in there, and make a pretty good stew. And I'm a firm believer in keeping cans of potatoes around, because even if you're on a diet during a problem time like that, excuse me, a problem time like that, you're going to find that you need more calories. And with more calories, you're going to find that you need to really push. Stress eating is the biggest problem during catastrophes. So stock up on stuff your families will eat. Now, stock up on some stuff with sugar in it, especially candy. Get some hard candy, such as the Jolly Ranchers and stuff like that. so that the kids have something to suck on. But be careful, because that creates two problems. Sugar, they'll burn the sugar off in a hurry, and then they'll be hungry again. So you want to make sure you're getting enough protein into your diet. And I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, I don't like. But stock up on salmon, mackerel, sardines, stuff like that. Because they're high in omega-3s, but they're also very filling. And you could mix it with, mackerel or salmon with mayonnaise or mustard and make it up just like tuna salad or chicken salad. So now let's go to the water. You need 1 gallon of water per person a day. Now, how do you do that? In my case, I have water filters. So I can use, unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, I can use water from a pond and pour it through. Now, am I going to treat that water once it's, you betcha. I'm going to add a drop of Clorox to a gallon, drop of bleach to every gallon, or a couple of drops, and make sure that the water is good and clean for my family. Another way to make sure, filter your water. Then, if you got a glass jar, put it in the glass jar, seal the glass jar, and put it out in the sun for a couple hours. The sun will kill any bacteria in the water that's left over. But if you notice, I'm saying filter to start with. Get all the big contaminants out. Now, where I live, we have a couple of small ponds in the hospital district. And they've tested the water over the years and found hospital waste in it. Is it because that they're dumping waste from the hospital? No. Stuff that comes from the trash cans, when it rains, it naturally flows down. Sometimes you just can't stop it from happening. Then let's look at shelter. If you've had a tornado or an earthquake, your house is probably not. If you're lucky, it survived and you can live in it. But most of the time, what happens is the houses are damaged, and they really tell you not to live in it. Make sure you have a tent for the kids to go into and sleep. And that's one of the big things you need to do, is make sure that when nightfall comes, the kids feel secure and safe. Number 4. We're going to change things up a little, because first aid should have been number 3. You need bigger than a boo-boo kit. What do I mean by a boo-boo kit? Well, what's a boo-boo kit? A boo-boo kit is for cuts and scrapes. And I hate to tell you this, folks, but you cannot go without one. It needs to have, you need to have bigger than a booby kit. You need to be able to stop bleeding, control bleeding. You need to be able to deal with, if you got people in your house who have high blood pressure or heart problems, you need to be able to deal with this stuff. If you've got bleeding going on, you need to know how to stop it and how to treat it. The biggest mistakes a lot of people make is they see something bleeding, they see something sticking out, and the first thing they want to do is reach down and pull it out. And then they create a bigger problem. Having basic first aid knowledge is essential. Having a basic knowledge of what the military calls blowout kits, or IFAKs, individual first aid kits. You need to know how to use a how to use a tourniquet, tricornered bandages. You need to know how to get bleeding stopped, with or without clotting agents. So, with that said, folks, you need to know. Now, number 5, security. I carry a gun all the time. Folks, I carry a gun all the time. Unless I'm going into a federal building or a state building, or into an area where it's got signs up telling me I'm not allowed to carry there, I have a gun with me. Now, guys, I carry enough ammunition, and I get laughed at. I've got friends who think I'm nutty as a fruitcake. Guy asked me one day, he said, how many magazines for that 9mm you carry? And I said 5. That's 75 rounds. That's a box and a half of ammunition for those of you who don't own a gun. And he asked me why. Now, I kind of laughed at him because he's a city cop. He carries, on his belt, he carries 2 extra mags. And I told him, the worst thing in the world in a firefight is to run out of ammunition. They're either going to kill you or they're just going to take you captive. Neither idea is a good idea. So, what I want you to think about is security methods. If for some reason you're not allowed to have a gun, get a stun gun or a taser. Get a baseball bat. Get OC gas. Get whatever you have to get to protect your family. But again, here's the catch. Make sure you have backups for everything. Now, some states that are watching this, you can't have a bigger magazine than 10 rounds in the gun. Which should be, totally out of line. But you know, who am I to say? I live in a great free state. Pepper spray, OC gas. If you can't have a gun, they make some stuff that's designed for bears. They also make some stuff that when you spray it on, it foams up and marks the person you sprayed. So they go to the hospital, they see the red or blue dye on the person's face, they know to call the police. Being prepared for situations is not as easy as it's made out to be, but it's a lot easier than being a victim. So that's the world according to the ancient warrior. You have a good day, and goodbye.